Alright, so first I'm going to work on teaching Castor to stand away from me. And in the beginning, this camera angle isn't the best, but I'm going to move it here in a second. But what I want is to work on Castor standing and being relaxed while I'm not super close to him. So I want to be like 2 feet away from him, not necessarily like him being right next to me all the time. I want him to learn that he can get reinforcement by being near me, but not like on top of me. So here I'm fairly close, but I'm going to kind of scooch a little bit away from him and continue to feed him at a high rate so that he's getting rewarded from staying over there. So you'll see later on there's kind of a more thought out methodical way of training this. This is just I'm preparing to do some deworming with him and I'm kind of just happened. So like he was kind of standing nicely over here and I was over away from him. So I was like, well, I'm going to reward him quite a bit for standing over and just giving me some space so that I can bring the food to him. He doesn't have to come and always get it from me, which I definitely should have worked on and taught just probably in the beginning, like a long, long time ago. But, you know, didn't know at the time. So there we go. Have a better look at what we're doing here. So he's a few feet away and he's being nice and relaxed. Kind of has his head turned so he looks pretty good. And I'm just going to click him and feed him over here. I should have fed him a little bit further away because he's kind of got his head turned. Just like stick my arm so that his, like further out so that his head is straight. But I like this. I like that he's kind of got his head turned a little to the side and it's pretty low, so that looks nice. So I'll click that where he lowered his head there, and then should have brought my like straightened out my elbow and brought his head even and centered in front of his chest. But just kind of letting him stand over there and I'm over here, so it kind of set up to where he was in the right position. And then with clicker training, you can just reword it and feed for that whatever position or behavior that your horse is giving you at the time. So this isn't like a formal clip right here, but it just kind of shows you like as you're working on something, like another behavior that you want to work on could happen, and then you can reword it and work on that. So I'm just going to give him some treats on the ground because I've run out now, or about to run out, and I need to have some so that I can actually work on the deworming, which was what I originally planned. But me tossing food on the ground means like, oh, we're gonna take a break, or like this is like training is over. But like it's just kind of like a pause in between because it could be one or the other. Usually, if training's over, I'll give them like hay or something else, and they'll be back in the pastures or wherever they are for the day. Or it just means like he's gonna take a break. So for this instance, like take a break, I'm gonna go get some food and then I'll be back. So he just has like a cue that there's gonna be a pause in the training, so he's not running after me, following me. So I'm just backing him up here, and then I'll reward because now he's got a little bit more distance between the two of us, and that looks really good. And I gotta be careful because I'm almost at too low of a rate of reinforcement. Like, I need to click and feed like sooner before he starts like doing that. Like, see, he's got his head's kind of turning, and he kind of leaned a little bit toward me. So I should have fed a little bit sooner there, but I'm just right at the edge. Like he is maintaining the behavior, but see how I'm getting that leg moving and he's got his head moving a little bit more. I can get rid of those behaviors by just feeding sooner and before they happen, and then building up the time systematically. So by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, however many seconds I want, and then I can make that into minutes. So that's how I would do that. But yeah, where I have a lot of the head turning is the behavior that I don't necessarily want. It's not a huge deal because it's not like he's leaving or doing anything crazy, but I don't really want the head turning behavior. So that's just something to think about. That's something that Castor does specifically, and my mini horse does, and my other 2 horses don't. But that's just something to think about. So we're gonna work on the actual deworming here. Straighten him out so you guys can see. And I'm just gonna have the syringe and I'm gonna let him target it. So you might have to start at a lower spot, like maybe just having the horse look at the syringe, but Castor, again, is a pretty curious guy. He's cool with it. There's nothing in there. It's just I don't even know. I think it came from like the baby department at Walmart. It's just like a little plastic syringe thing. It's not like first shots or anything, but I'm gonna work on having that as my like fake dewormer tube. So Castor's been dewormed before, but I've used feed through, and now I'm gonna use like an oral one. So I'm just gonna take my time and work on that plastic one. It's empty. There's nothing in it. It's just plastic. So that's kind of my starting place. I'm just gonna have him target it on like the side of his muzzle, and then we'll kind of shape it to where it's going to be inside of his cheek, and then shape it to where he's staying still for a longer period of time, and then I can actually move my hand and push down the stopper, and then we'll move on to the actual deworming medication. So, but this is where we're at right now, and this is just the very beginning, but I'll show you the whole process, and I'm kind of in the way there, but I just I touched the tube to the side of his face. And I originally in the beginning, like I had him targeted a couple times, and then I'm gonna go ahead and touch him with it. But if he's weary of it, if your horse is weary of it, just let him touch it and don't like chase him around with it or anything like that. You want him to build confidence and bring his nose toward it. Like there you could see he turned his head and touched it. So I want him very, very confident with him targeting it before I do anything else. So he wants to bring his nose to it, and when he touches it, I'll click and feed. So this is a great start for him. He seems to be understanding this pretty well. That looks great. So now I can just kind of hold it out and he'll immediately target it. So that's fantastic for session.